Okay, so for those of you who don't know, yesterday the 9th of May 2017, 5 lions escaped Kruger National Park and went into the surrounding area just below. As far as I'm aware, 4 of those 5 lions have already been captured, so there's only 1 lion still at large. SANparks, South African National Park, has been really up at capturing these lions and getting them back into Kruger National Park. As far as I'm aware, we don't really know how they escaped yet, but I'm sure that will all be sorted very soon. Now, why is this a big deal? Because for those of you who don't know, a lot of African parks, and big African parks, including the Serengeti, the Masai Mara, Chobe, the Okavango Delta, don't actually have really solid boundaries, which means lots of wildlife actually escape. Now, that's not to say that that's not a big deal, because wildlife can have actually huge impacts to people living around national parks, or even further depending on how far the wildlife gets. But animals like elephant can absolutely destroy crops. Many predators that escape, such as lions, can kill cattle and livestock, and the ones that have escaped, the 5 from Kruger, as far as I am aware, have already killed 1 cattle, which is a big deal if you are a cattle farmer, because that is a large sum of how you make your money. Why is it a big deal here in South Africa? And the reason for that is South Africa has boundaries to their parks, solid fenced boundaries. Wildlife and humans are not allowed to interact normally. It's almost like an enormous zoo. You have to go into the wildlife area like Kruger National Park to experience wildlife, whereas wildlife is not able to just come out and kind of interact unwantedly with livestock and farmers, and things that causes problems for people that people aren't always aware of unless you're a farmer that lives, or someone living next to a park. You're not aware of these problems. So when a lion escapes Kruger National Park, especially to the south of Kruger National Park, where there's a national road, there's farmers, there's people living around there, they're not used to having wild animals kind of killing their livestock and potentially threatening their lives themselves. So it's a big deal in South Africa, but it's also got consequences when we put boundaries, such strong boundaries around parks, as these animals actually need to breed outside of just their immediate family. So it's kind of okay in big parks like the Kalahari Transfrontier Park and Kruger National Park, where there's a large area for them to move around and for them to kind of interbreed between different groups of lions and not kind of interbreed amongst themselves. But with smaller parks, it actually poses a problem, because now these lions are interbreeding and there's incest, and it's not good for genetic diversity. It can actually weaken the genetic diversity and lead to a reduce in fitness, which is their ability to survive, of those lions. Or whatever animal. It's not just lions, it's any animal that is confined to a small space and not able to interbreed with other populations. So what these small parks have to do is then transfer lions, or have to transfer animals from one park to another, and then vice versa, so that they can get new genetic diversity into that park. So the advantage of having open boundaries in a lot of African parks, although I don't think this is why it's done, is so you can get genetic diversity, and it's much better because there's a flow. You don't need to bring in animals into a location. But the downside of that is wild animals, especially big wild animals like elephant, or predators like lion or leopard or cheetah or anything, or even jackal or hyena. These wild animals can come in and steal livestock or destroy crops. And they have bad impact on not only the people that live around there, but also the perception of wildlife. Because obviously if your livestock and your crops being destroyed by wildlife, you're not going to be a big fan of it. Anyway, I just made this video quickly, and I want to elaborate more on this in a future video. But basically, wildlife escaping in South Africa is a big deal, because we've got solid borders around our parks. Although around most of Africa, it's quite common practice. Not that it's not a big deal, but it happens more frequently. So I just thought I'd put that out there, just so that people are aware of how things work with conservation and wildlife management, just to give you an idea. So anyway, that's my message for today. I'm sure that South African national parks will have that last line under capture soon, and hopefully before it can cause any other harm to cattle or even worse, people. So that's my message for today. I hope you learned something, and yeah, hashtag lion escape. Now you know. Alright, cheers for now guys.